Now we're going to go live. All right, Bill, it's your show, baby. Can you make it bigger so I can see his face?
Hey, everybody out in Facebook land. This is, I don't know, it's podcast. Billy D Unfiltered. I don't know what it is, but I got a good friend of mine, Cordie Lee Williams, chiropractor, the megaphone chiropractor, megaphone marine. You and I have been standing tall, California, standing up for people's rights to Jesus, go back to work. What a concept. And we're just really imploring chiropractors to show up this weekend, May 23rd in Sacramento, California. But why don't you kind of mention what happened the last time you were in Sacramento? You and I were there, and I want to kind of take a back seat that day because I got beat up the first time I went off. I wanted you to get beat up a little bit. It's okay. We can trade off a little bit. I'm ready. I'm healed up. I'm ready to go again. Well, so what happened last time? Because I was there watching the whole thing.
Dude, I got really lucky. Because I almost got arrested like 4 times. And actually, Tanya was calling in and getting people to go and get me because she's like watching, I guess they were doing a watch party or whatever.
Yeah.
And she's like, don't let him get arrested. Don't let him get arrested. So, but luckily, the security that one of the groups had out there kind of was like coming over, this nice lady named Gina. And she's like, Doc, you don't want to get arrested. You don't want to get arrested. But literally DEFCON 1 to DEFCON 4. I mean, it was like guys are out in khakis, they're talking, they're not wearing the facial condoms. Everything's cool. It's like, hey guys, we're glad you're here. Everything's awesome. And then next thing we know, it's like Starship Troopers and full riot gear, dude. It goes from a force of 50 to like 700. And there's women getting batoned, people getting slammed to the ground, handcuffed, all that stuff.
And it was peaceful, dude. I don't even know why that was even warranted.
Yeah,
I think it was because we weren't like letting them push us back.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like 100%, because it's all the idea of like, this is all about control. It is, right? And they're just trying to see how far they can push the line. And you've been talking about it for years. It's like, look how easy it was for them to do what they did up to this point.
Quarantine the entire planet over nothing, over a bullshit scam. Right?
I mean, amen. The numbers, my big thing is the numbers don't add up. And what you and I have always agreed upon with this whole thing is freedom and choice.
Right.
We want everybody to have freedom and choice. It's like, if you want to wear your facial condom, wear one. If you want to put stuff in your veins that's been tested on rats for a couple of weeks, cool. You can do that.
Right.
I want the choice not to do that because I'm going to choose door number 2, right? Which is not do that.
To get adjusted, eat healthy, get some exercise, go surfing like we did yesterday, be happy, do some other things, maybe detoxify. I don't know, like crazy stuff. I know I'm a mixer, but guarantee you those people that keep pointing fingers at us don't see half as many people as we do because they're not coming from a space of love. They're coming from a space. And maybe sometimes I sound like I'm a little angry because I don't get why you would allow this thing to go. Why would you allow our country to go down? You know what I mean? You spent 4 years in the Marines to protect our freedoms. And now we're just giving that shit away. Like it was like, it's no big deal. Like, we've given up everything, and it's not only us. And that's the thing I want people to understand is what happens in California goes across the country. We set the precedent for that stuff, but we also set the precedent for the world because people are looking. I've got all kinds of messages, I'm sure as you have as well. You've got messages from people in Europe. I've got so many messages from people in Australia that are looking up to us for guidance and hope because they're more oppressed than we are in the United States. We got a Bill of Rights. We got a ball sack. We got balls in our ball sack. We got a Second Amendment. We're ready to go, bro. And I'm not, here's the thing. That's why I understand the chiropractors, and it's not just the chiropractors, but I'm going to bag on the chiropractors a little bit right now. We have always stood for truth. We've always stood for ADIO. We've always stood for like what's right and what's wrong. Why is it all of a sudden? And again, I know it's hard for you to get on a plane and fly out here, but if it was all about you and you had a speaking engagement, you would be here. And again, I didn't want this to be in California. I actually was talking to you and discussing about doing it in Dallas, something centrally located, or Chicago. But I'm feeling that we need to set the precedent in Sacramento. And again, in 2 weeks, if we need to, we're going to go to Washington, D.C. I'm going to go wherever I'm needed because I don't mind getting on a plane. People go, oh, it's so far. It's so far away. I live in Idaho. I go, Idaho is probably just as close to Sacramento as Orange County is.
Yeah.
Quit giving me your bullshit excuses why you can't show up.
Yeah, I agree, Bill, because it's like, the New York is the head and California is the neck. I mean, we're in the upper structure, right? And when those two fall, I think you'll see the others fall. But it's fascinating. I was saying on some interview or some program, or maybe you and I were talking about it. It's fascinating to me that, it's like my friend Dr. Ron Sinagra always says, everybody's a tough
I know
guy.
Ron.
Ron, man, Ron's
He's
amazing.
spicy
man.
too.
He is spicy, right? That's what little Cordie says. You the spicy one, right? That's what little Cordie always says. He goes, you spicy daddy, you the spicy one. But it's funny because Dr. Ron always said, right? Everybody's a tough guy behind a computer. And I feel like a lot of the docs out there were the ones saying, they're like, hey, I'd go to jail for chiropractic, and they're thumping the green book. And now you're calling them up. And I know you've been.
They're not even returning my friggin' phone calls, a little pussies, and that's okay.
and it's just beep, right? It's fascinating because they're not returning phone calls. They're not willing to come. And the whole thing is, I'm worried about my license. I'm worried about my practice, whatever. And my big point is, what about the rest of the docs of the profession that aren't flourishing, that don't have a thriving practice, who aren't getting the patients to come in, right? Or the restaurants that are going out of business right now? Why don't we as a profession be a stand for all of them? Like, and really the bus of freedom, it's like I said at a rally on Saturday, we're driving towards socialism, and there's tickets for people to get on to turn the son of a gun around, or we can just head right towards socialism. And what's everybody going to say 5 years from now? They're going to say, you know what, my dad was a chiropractor, and back in the day, they were really strong and really tough, but they lost all their testes,
Right?
their testicles. Then they became a, what is it, a hermaphrodite? When you lose
A snowflake.
Yeah, but what is it when you're like neutral? What's the old term?
I'm not.
When
You,
were
I'll
like
let
neutral.
I'll let you name that, because I'll
Or
get myself
asexual. They call it asexual when you're like, how the animals.
hermaphrodite. You have both sexes. You have a penis.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, you have both.
Okay. Oh, glad we got that straight. I'm sure everybody's happy about that one. They're like, thank you for discussing that tonight, right? But
you started it. You have a stamen and a pistol.
It's my fault.
Stamen and a pistol. How's that sound? I was into botany too for some weird reason.
Nice. Oh man.
Yeah, but I'm really proud of you for. I mean, you're a young dude. How long have you been in practice now?
Going on 7 years.
Okay, long enough, but not as long as. I mean, I've been in practice 5 times as long as you.
Wow.
And again, for me, it's not about me. I mean, you got a lot more on the line than I do. You got 2 beautiful kids I got to hang out with yesterday.
Thanks, man.
I'm just looking at what kind of world are they going to grow in if we all acquiesce to all the bullshit. And that's why, oh my God, it's such a long plane flight from the East Coast to Sacramento. Okay, would you quit your whining? And people, like you said, went to jail for chiropractic in the past. And this isn't a chiropractic thing. You and I have headed the chiropractic rally part of it. I've got people working, all the people that own the nail salons. We got people working the hair. They're actually going to be out there cutting hair at the event. We've got pastors working in the friggin' church groups. We've got I just talked to Sean Steele on the phone today. He's going to start rallying all the attorneys. The thing is, this is a global effort. This is not just a Sacramento, California, United States. This is a global mission. And the mission is to get 1 million people at this event to really send a message strong that we're not going to take your bullshit anymore. We're over the oppression. We're over the medical dominance. We're over your forced mandated vaccines. We're over all the bullshit that people have so reluctantly are just so easily just accepted as what they will allow to happen. And I mean, from the very beginning, me being a chiropractor, the first time at DE, Dynamic Essentials, and listening to guys like Fred Barge, who was a huge mentor of mine, when he said, and he was basically just quoting BJ Palmer, if the germ theory of disease were true, there would be no one living to believe it. That's when I freaking started going down the rabbit hole with everything from antibiotics to vaccines. And that's what opened my whole mind to this whole agenda about a control from a medical cartel perspective But then it goes much bigger than that. You go up higher echelons into this whole grid that really controls the friggin' entire planet. And you see how that's being orchestrated today. And people still want to sit on their fucking hands. And it blows my mind that you don't want to show up to something as important as the future for your friggin' children. You can give me whatever excuse it is, but I just don't buy it, bro. Because I know if you were speaking and you were the headliner, you would be there in a fucking heartbeat. But you're just a big pussy, and you know you're a big pussy, and you won't show up because it's not in your backyard and it's too much effort for you. And all the money that you make, you can't spend on a friggin' plane flight to be out here. To be, again, I don't care if you don't show up. I'm just saying we're going to have a good time, and we're going to celebrate, and we're going to kick some ass on Saturday, bro.
Amen. And you know, I agree with everything you said, Bill, because
it's hard not to.
Dude, it's just like, I really don't know how people are just sitting by idly. I mean, you know, I have a friend named Robin Good, and Robin Good actually met Kofi Anderson at a local restaurant, and she connected us. And that's where I got the contact to be able to reach out to him and become friends with him and invite him to headline this event. And it's fascinating because there's so many people. I mean, she's literally a mom, and I don't want to, you know, she's older than me by a little bit, Robin. And she's a mom of like 2 or 3, right? Transitioning to a different part of her life. And she's like heading up the charge, right? She doesn't like, she's not a chiropractor. She's not like some person that said that they were an activist and was on the front lines and they'd go to jail and all this stuff. But here's this mom that was talking to the mayor today. And people are reaching out, not because of their own self-interest, but they see the pain that humanity is going through.
Right.
And so I'm like, how can you sit by as somebody that claims that you put your hands on people, you change lives, you care about them, innate intelligence, and, you know, you eat, sleep, ADIO, you eat, sleep, and shit, the green books. But when it comes time to pony up and look between your legs and grab a pair, you're just like, you know what? I'm going to sit this one out. I'm going to wash the jock straps in the back in the locker.
Right.
You guys,
I'm going to sniff the jock strap. I'm going to sniff them.
Gross. Oh my goodness. Sniff them. I don't know about that one.
Wow. They probably will. You know what? Maybe they'll grow some hair if they do that. Who knows?
Oh man.
Yeah, and I don't like to be the mean guy. I mean, you know me. Like you hung out with me yesterday. I'm a pure lover, but I just get like I've been doing this for a long time, dude, and I'm just fed up with just people's just like. I mean, if they had Super Bowl tickets, I guarantee you they'd find a way to fucking get an airplane ticket and get out here.
100%.
Or if, you know, it was their vacation. But I'm talking about the future of the human fucking race, bro. I'm not talking about just like the next little carrot that's coming along. I'm talking about the future that your kids and their kids are going to have. And you sitting on your hands on the sidelines watching the rest of us do it is part of the problem that got us to where we're at today. And you know who I'm talking about. You're out there listening right now, and I don't care if you like me. I don't really give a shit if you like me or not. But you know I'm right. You know that I'm right from a friggin' philosophical standpoint, but you also know I'm right from a human rights standpoint.
Yeah.
That this oppression that we're feeling from tyrannical friggin' leaders like Newscomb. We have a leader now that I don't know why he's like in charge right now, called Bill fucking Gates. We got guys like Hitler, Fauci. And again, some people say, oh, the thing that I just saw on the Facebook today was about, oh, we're comparing mass to Hitler and the Holocaust. No, I did not compare mass. I'm calling the whole agenda, you dumb fucking shit. Listen to me. It's all about the progression of where this is going and where it's headed. And if you can't see that, then pull your head out of the green book, and you'll be reading your green book in the FEMA cap while they're force injecting you. And you'll probably just acquiesce it and accept that shot because you're a pussy. And you know who I'm talking about out there. You guys, you got to grow. Like you said, look between your legs and see what's there, bro. And then there's nothing there. And your practices all suck. People that want to come back at you and me have practices that are meager practice. They don't have any money. They don't even have money to travel. And the reason is because they don't have the heart. They don't have the soul. They don't have the love for people that you and I have. And they don't have the friggin' ball sack to get out there and stand up for their kids and their future because they're little fucking wimps. And that's the bottom line, bro.
And I think it's interesting because
And I didn't want to get this. I said tonight.
No, I love it, buddy. I love it.
All right.
I honestly, I think that's what people need to hear, Bill. Like, seriously.
And I don't care if they don't like me. I got plenty of friends.
I told Tanya's like, because I mean, my wife steps into a lot of things, and she actually got me involved in this movement. She said, "Hey, babe, you want to go to a protest?" This was like, I don't know, 5 weeks ago, a month ago, whenever it was. And we went down to San Diego, and I was all in after I felt the feeling, and I really looked at, we got two choices: either exercise our Second Amendment, and I go to prison the rest of my life. When somebody comes, you know what I'm saying? Like, I literally told her, I said,
dude,
if somebody comes to my kid, you're not putting a vaccine, you're not putting a medication, anything into my kid's body that I don't say is okay. And I say they're all bullshit and it's not happening.
Right.
So if you try to do that, I literally told my wife, I said, we either protest and we go this route, or when they come for my kids, I'm pulling out my Glock and I'll go to prison the rest of my life. 100% I will. And what I chose is, I'd rather do the Martin Luther King peaceful route of moving and mobilizing, right? Because I think we can move the needle if we do these big rallies. Like, they got to be big. If you're doing bullshit 200, 500.
Yeah, I mean, I'm over that shit, bro.
I mean, it's a joke. You stand around,
a joke.
People.
It's almost like they use that against us when you have, like, you know, people say, well, I'm going to do my own, I'm going to go to my Illinois one. There'll be like 50 fucking people there when you could be out here celebrating with us.
Right.
It's just another pussy ass, lame ass excuse from people that don't want to get on a fucking plane. That's the problem with people, you know?
Well,
so, and I want to say this.
Yeah, go ahead.
You and I were at that one in Huntington, dude. And it was such an amazing, just this feeling of just immense patriotism and love for this country. And I said this on Jason Dean's show right before this. I mean, this wasn't in a friggin', there wasn't this, and I don't know if I can say this, and I don't care if you don't like it, a small Asian man, okay? Fuck all this personal, all this PC shit. I'm over that shit. That's all you guys, you're snowflakes that created this stuff. I grew up in an era where people actually had a friggin' sense of humor, and we didn't take it all. We were all sensitive about it. That's all about conquer and divide. That's all that's it about. And if you can't see that, then go melt somewhere, please. Would you? And just get off this friggin' phone call. But there was this little Asian man, and he was so sweet, and he owned a nail salon with his wife, and he just wanted to go back to work so he could feed his friggin' family, man. And he was out there at the event giving away free waters, and the feeling of patriotism and love and people that think the same way you and I, it was just like, I've been a couple times where I just said, screw it, I'm throwing in the friggin' towel, I'm over this shit, I'm just gonna go surfing and let the whole shit house go down. But then you go to these events and you're around people, and this event at Sacramento is going to be frigging mind melting, dude. It's going to be frigging such an amazing event. And I can't imagine, like, oh, if I had Super Bowl tickets, I'd be there for that. But this is going to blow any fucking Super Bowl away, you friggin' pussies. And again, I'm telling you right now, there's going to be nothing more. This is going to be history. This is going to be a landmark in history. And then we're taking this friggin' energy and we're going to the friggin' capital of the United States next, bro.
Love it. Love it. And, you know, honestly, if we could figure out, I was just thinking as we were talking about this, if we could fly into another place where there's not quarantine,